The judge asked me one final question before signing my divorce papers. Then my 8-year-old daughter suddenly stood up and said 6 words. That changed everything. Have you ever heard complete silence inside a courtroom? The kind that makes your own heartbeat sound deafening? I have. The day my divorce was supposed to become final, I honestly believed the hardest part was already over. 3 years of arguments, 2 custody evaluations, thousands of dollars in legal fees, and more sleepless nights than I could count. I was exhausted. My 8-year-old daughter, Lily, sat quietly beside my attorney, coloring in a notebook because the judge had allowed her to stay for only a few minutes. My ex-husband Jason looked unusually confident that morning. Every few minutes he'd glance at me and smirk, like he already knew exactly how everything was going to end. I ignored him. I just wanted the nightmare to be over. The judge reviewed the custody agreement one last time before looking at both of us. Mrs. Hayes, do you still agree to these terms? She asked calmly. I opened my mouth to answer when Jason suddenly interrupted. Your Honor, before she says anything, there's something everyone deserves to know. My stomach immediately tightened. He stood up, pulled several printed screenshots from a folder, and proudly held them up. She's been having an affair with one of her coworkers, he announced. The courtroom went dead silent. I actually gasped. What? I shouted. That's a lie, Jason shrugged. Then explain these messages. My hands were shaking as I looked through them. The messages were real, but they had been carefully cropped to hide every work-related conversation and make them look romantic. My lawyer immediately stood. Your Honor, these screenshots have been manipulated. Before she could continue, Jason pointed toward Lily. Ask my daughter who her mom talks to every night. My heart dropped. I turned toward my little girl. She looked confused, frightened, and far too young to be caught in the middle of this. The judge smiled gently. Sweetheart, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Lily looked at me first, then at her father. Finally, she slowly stood up, clutching her notebook. My entire body was trembling. Jason smiled confidently, clearly expecting her to repeat what he'd practiced with her. Instead, Lily quietly whispered, Daddy told me to lie today. Nobody moved. Nobody even breathed. Jason's smile disappeared. Lily, he said nervously, remember what we talked about. She shook her head, tears rolling down her cheeks. I don't want to lie anymore, she cried. The courtroom erupted with whispers. Jason's attorney closed his eyes in frustration. The judge immediately called for silence. Lily took a deep breath and continued, Daddy said if I told the judge Mommy had a secret boyfriend, we'd get to keep the big house, and he'd finally buy me the puppy he promised. My heart shattered. Jason suddenly yelled, She's confused! The judge's expression turned ice cold. Sit down now! Even the bailiff stepped closer. For the first time that morning, Jason looked genuinely afraid. After a short recess, investigators confirmed the screenshots had been deliberately edited. They also recovered deleted messages where Jason had written, Once Lily repeats the story, the judge will believe me. When those words were read aloud, Jason lowered his head. The judge looked directly at him and said, Using your own child to deceive this court is unacceptable. That afternoon, I was granted primary custody, and Jason's visitation was restricted until he completed counseling and parenting classes. As we left the courthouse, Lily slipped her tiny hand into mine and whispered, Mommy, are you mad at me? I dropped to my knees, hugged her as tightly as I could, and sobbed. No, sweetheart, I'm proud of you. Telling the truth took more courage than most adults will ever have. Looking back, I thought that hearing would end my marriage. Instead, it proved something even more important. Lies can fool a courtroom for a little while, but eventually, the truth always finds the courage to stand up and speak. If your child exposed a lie that completely changed your future, would you still call it your worst day? Or your bravest one? Yes, no.